This weekend is the World Day of Prayer for Vocations. And I thought I'd share a little bit of part of my vocation, my call to the priesthood. And just number one, I just ask everyone, just plead, if I may, to pray for vocations. Pray for young men and young women to consider the priesthood, the religious life. Also, I also plead and pray for you to pray for the vocation of marriage. If we really want to talk about a vocation crisis, we could talk about that crisis. But we really do need prayer. And I appreciate the prayer that you give, that you honor for my vocation. For me, it helps me, it gives me strength to carry on throughout the week. We also need to pray for those young men and women who might be considering priesthood or religious life, and encouragement. That's obviously one of the things that happened for me was some encouragement. It was like the weekend before I was going down to the seminary. It was a small little retreat, and I found myself in that bed that night, basically spinning and turning, and oh my gosh, what have I done? I have thrown away my career, I have thrown away my house, everything that I have done, everything I've offered it all up, and I am so scared right now, and I didn't know what was going on. And I really do believe in that time of despair, that time of questioning everything, God caught me in his hands. I was reminded of something that was said to me, a young lady, when she found out that I was going into the seminary to study to be a priest. Her comment was what I needed to hear at that moment. Her comment was, that's so great that you're going to be a priest. You're going to want to bring the sacraments to the people. You're going to have that desire to bring the sacraments to the people. That little encouragement is what caught me and kept me going. I went into the seminary the next week and was with hope, with love in my heart. So I love to provide the sacraments. And today we get to provide the great sacrament of the Eucharist to everyone, and also most importantly to these two young ladies, Madeline and Ari. We really need also a better understanding of the Eucharist. And that's also what drove me into the priesthood. We need to remind ourselves what Mass is, why Mass is important, why we struggle to come here despite the busyness of life, be able to be here at this altar, this table. The Eucharist is not only a sacrifice, nor is it just only a meal. A lot of people call it the Holy Meal. A lot of people call it the sacrificial Mass, the sacrifice of the Mass. It's a both and reality. You can't separate both of them. It is a sacrificial meal. Jesus does not give us just any kind of meal. This is not going to be lasagna. It's not going to be that pork dinner next week, right? Something great. Jesus gives himself. He gives himself up for us to eat and to drink. He goes so completely into this bread and into the wine that he himself becomes the food and drink. And he does this out of love. This is his great love. His great love is spread. He just wants to spread himself, and this is how he does it. He gives us this food and drink. That bread, wine, totally becomes him. We also need to realize that the Eucharist is the centerpiece of the church, the centerpiece of the other six sacraments. It's the most precious treasure that the church has to offer. This great sacrament, body, blood, soul, divinity of Christ. This is the treasure. Eating this bread, the Eucharist, we realize the unity between Christ and us. Christ enters our body, literally enters into our body. And that's why we need to be ready to receive this great gift, this great treasure. We need to be ready and understand what we are receiving, to truly receive what is offered to us. So we need to have that proper disposition, this habit of knowing Christ. This is why we have first reconciliation before we have first communion. Let us know that that's really important. It's not just because Father just keeps inviting us to the confession. It's so that we can worthily receive and treasure this precious gift of Christ in a more meaningful way. To receive this grace-filled sacrament. So the question to Madeline, to Arya, to all of us, are you ready? Are you ready to receive this great gift from our God? A gift of love. His love. He's willing to sacrifice himself for us. Are you ready to receive this most precious treasure of the church?